Hello and welcome to Good Games Well Played, episode 245. I'm Clint, aka JCM. With us this week is Isli
Yo.
and Messiah.
Hello.
And we were out last week. I was on vacation, so we couldn't record. There wasn't too much that happened that week, although we did get some confirmation of games coming to PlayStation Plus. There were some leaks prior to that weekend, and then Sony confirmed. And some of the callouts were Space Marine 2 is on as part of the games catalog for extra tier. Persona 5 Royal is also on the extra tier. So if you haven't played that yet, so is Metal Eden, Astroneer, and Blasphemous 2. Or sorry, maybe Blasphemous 2 is the one that is not. Oh, never mind. They added it. That wasn't part of the original leak because it leaked beforehand, and then Sony confirmed, "Hey, we do have Blasphemous 2." So some pretty good additions to the extra tier, especially with Space Marine. And I was like, "Oh, damn! If I had time, I'd jump into." And I think it's not only just Royale; it's also Royale the Deluxe Edition as well. Because I was browsing the extras catalog last night, seeing if there's anything that I wanted to download and try. Which I'll get into a game that I downloaded that was part of Extra, or maybe it was part of PS Plus. I'm not sure which one which, but I have my PS Plus is expiring soon, and I was like, I'm not going to renew premium. I'll do extra tier some other point, but let's see what I can get play real quick before it lapses on the 24th. But yeah, not too much. There was a big Jeff Kaplan interview, as former boss of the Overwatch team at Blizzard. He had a big interview. It was pretty interesting. Talk about working at Blizzard, for over 20 years. Not I don't have too much, saved from that, but it was interesting to see. It's always interesting when someone who's been in a particular studio industry for so long, like, has a big interview about working there when they no longer do. Especially if there was some like turmoil or issues that they had with something, or were like, "Oh, I hate this decision," and now they can talk about it. Especially if like maybe an NDA is up or something, so, like they can complain. I usually like
Mhm.
hearing about that kind of stuff. But keeping it with some big news that happened this past week. So we had talked about before last year about the issues at with Subnautica 2 and Unknown Worlds and Krafton and everything, and how the boss was let go. There was some concern. The game was supposed to go into early access last year, end of last year in Q4. There's this whole thing around bonuses if they do that. It was like $250 million in bonus if they were able to get it done. And so there's this big thing, and then there was a countersue from uh, the fired folks and yada yada. And a judge ruled in favor of the fired workers, saying that yeah, Krafton fucked up. They need to reinstate the boss, and extend that $250 million bonus. Because there was that bit where they didn't want to pay it, so they used Chat GPT whatever to figure out how can I fire. They had records of them asking Chat GPT, how to
Oh,
get
I
rid of
hate
them.
that.
So yeah, it's good to see. I'm happy for that team and Ted Gill, who is the fired CEO of Unknown Worlds, and some other senior team members that will be coming back. So hopefully they didn't I mean, I'd imagine maybe when they got let go, there was a severance package that kept them up for a bit. Because who knows if they, because if you get a job shortly after, you're like, oh, now you can be reinstated. Like, do I quit the new job I just got? Especially if you had to move out of country. But that's good. That's good to see. That was a happy bit of news.
We love a win, finally.
That's right for the workers. So
It's
from
interesting
shitty.
because I'm just worried that the game is gonna become vaporware with all of this like turmoil around it, and it's just gonna like cease
Mhm.
to exist.
Well, they had the big trailer a little bit ago that was looking good. I was like, oh, this is not like I'm liking everything I see, and like even
I
they were
know,
saying
I
they
I
said
feel like
themselves they were ready for early access. So like it wasn't like some who's not familiar with it was saying that they were ready. Like the devs themselves said we were good, we were ready. So it's like I feel like they're in a good spot. They were just hamstrung by Crafton.
I know, but it's always weird when shit like this happens. Like, are they gonna try to pull some weird shit of like, oh, we have to pay 250 million, we need to just close the studio now? Like, what? I don't
Yeah,
know.
look, then
I
you're
feel
gonna
like
get sued again if you do that.
I know,
Like,
but I'm like, I feel like these people never want to go quietly into the night and just like pay up. They always have to like fuck someone else over on the way out.
yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm curious though is like that interim leadership of because I forget who took over. If it was, internal folks who just got, bumped up in promotion, or if Crafton like did their own team. Because like if everybody else knows we can go into early access, but Crafton fires the CEO and senior leadership and then says we're not ready. They just say we're not ready. So they push it. Like was there any, I don't wanna say, like, sabotage, you know what I mean? But, like, what did they do to delay them to push it out? Or did they just say, like, was
That's
it
kinda what I'm
just
getting at.
I think
Like,
it was just a smokescreen of, like, "We don't think what you have is good enough for early access," when them as a team and their experience know with Subnautica 1 and Below Zero, what is an acceptable amount of content for early access.
or, like, did they sabotage them via, like, managerial decisions like, "Oh, no, you actually need to change this functioning system to this system instead," and the system they change it to is, like, a significantly worse one? Like, did they intentionally make a decision around the game in order to delay it, which makes the game worse? I don't know. This is my, like, paranoia coming up, but I just feel like these people never wanna, like, pay up or do their shit.
They'll do something to fuck it up or continue to fuck them over or just be petty throughout the entire thing because that's what led them up to this point anyway, so why would they stop?
Yeah. Yeah, and then at the time of this article, there wasn't a response from Krafton, but they had their own now it's been updated with their own PR response, which is I'm not gonna go through it because it's just
Nothing
corporate.
burger of words.
Yeah, of words and basically just saying, like, "We don't agree," and blah, 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 and
Of course you don't agree, shut
we
up.
have the players at the heart of our decision making, and, we care about the players and blah, 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 and all that bullshit. It's like, "Nah." It's like, "I don't care what you think. You're a spokesperson for Crafton. I don't need your fucking word salad." But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Obviously, it has to resolve down and make sure everything, happens. So you got the ruling. Now we got to see it, in action. But yeah, moving on. So obviously we have that John Carpenter game, Toxic Commandos, coming out, which is a co-op first-person shooter. And so they had an interview with John Carpenter talking about some of his favorite games. And I'm always interested about people who are not in the games. I mean, even in the games industry, I like hearing like when they do like, what is Evan Wells or Ted Price or they don't ask Hideo Kojima. He's usually watching movies anyways or reading a book. But like, asking these people like in the game studio, like, what are your favorite games right now? And because I'm always interested, like, what are you playing? And a lot of times it's always like whatever Nintendo just released or something on the competitor's platform or like a live service game that they love or something. But John Carpenter had an interview with him and asked him like what his favorite games were. And some of them, he has Borderlands 2. He loves the Borderlands 2. I know a lot of people like it. So that kind of is like, okay, it makes sense. You're working on a first person shooter. That's an extremely popular first person shooter. Uh, I can understand that you
Mhm.
like that. He likes Sonic the Hedgehog from '91, the OG Sonic. I was like,
I mean,
"Really?"
respect with that choice. That's a great
Yeah.
choice.
I guess, but but Sonic 1, not even like Sonic 2 or 3, like just Sonic 1. He's like, I guess he does say Sonic is where it all started for me. Fast and bright and had the early game energy where you always felt like something might go wrong in any second. I still go back to it. It's very nostalgic. So he's got that nostalgic factor for
I
it.
was
So I'm
gonna
like,
say the
okay.
nostalgic factor is why it's the first one.
Yeah. He likes Fallout 76. He likes Fallout. He's like the world's big and messy, complicated, and full of strange corners and things that want you dead around every turn. Is dense with a ton to discover, and I keep finding reasons to come back. He also likes Horizon Zero Dawn. He says Horizon Zero Dawn is one of those games where the first thing that hits you is just how beautiful the world is. It feels alive and dangerous and incredibly immersive. So he likes that game. He also loves the Assassin's Creed series. He thinks it's just really cool that it could just drop you directly into these incredible detailed historical worlds and letting you move through them like a shadow. So it's like, all right, there you go. And then he also loves Jack and Daxter, the precursor legacy from 2001. He's like, it's
I
just
mean, honestly, great selection of games.
yeah,
Mhm.
uh,
Solid.
I'm abreast, yeah.
yeah. And then they asked him, what are you looking forward to? And he says, obviously he's looking forward to Toxic Commando, which is from Saber Interactive. That comes out soon. I think there might have been a demo, but that comes out soon. He's obviously looking forward to that. He's also looking forward to Halloween from Ilphonic, their next game, and then he's looking forward to the next Fallout game from Bethesda, of course. Uh, but yeah, I always find it interesting when he's a juggernaut in his genre who then talks about what games he plays. I think it's always fun. It's like, "Hey, man, you gotta." I'm surprised they don't like when they talk about how big of a gamer they are or games they like. Maybe they don't have time to play games a bunch, but I'm surprised they don't like. I feel like it'd be easy just to do like you don't even have to do a live stream, but like just record a game session of you playing one of these games and just maybe shooting the shit or something. Like a Game Informer does. I forget what they call it, but they do a couple different things where like they'll play a game on stream. Sometimes they do a retro game, or like revisit a classic. But it'd be interesting if they did something with him where like they play a game together and they just like kind of shoot the shit while he plays and just talks about the game or whatever. That'd be interesting. And then moving on, so Remedy released the final update for FBC Firebreak, which is the multiplayer game in the Control universe. They also lowered the price and launched a friend pass that way, kind of like for Split Fiction, where if you buy the game, you can get some friend keys to let your friends play in co-op. And essentially, like, this is the final update. It's not doing as well as we had hoped, but here's the final bit of content, cheaper price, play if you want. So we'll see. It's now only $20. I forget what it was. I think it was maybe $40 when it launched. But yeah, I did watch some people play it, when they got sponsored, like on certain streams, what have you. But just, it's not that it didn't interest me. It was just like, I just don't have time to play a bunch of the multiplayer games. We've talked about it. Like, I don't got time. Because you got to get other people to get it as well and have to have the same amount of time that you do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then unfortunately, Crystal Dynamics suffered a fourth round of redundancy layoffs in the past 12 months, losing 20 staff. But they still say they're committed to Tomb Raider because they got the remake of one, and then they have the new one coming out. And I'm like, man, how are you have two things coming out this year and next year, and somehow you're still letting people go? Like I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you call it redundancy, so I don't know what you're thinking is.
Yeah, the redundancy is that the CEO's paycheck isn't big enough yet.
Yeah, right. It's gonna be like, okay,
What do you mean redundancy?
yeah, we'll see. Yes, because you got. It's just too much, man. You got Legacy of Atlantis and Catalyst, and it's like 26 and 27 was gonna be your sort of the anniversary of the first one was gonna be why you're doing the remake here, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But it's a little not reassuring for the new game or even the remake of the first one. But we'll see what happens. And then I know none of us play Counter Strike, but I thought it was interesting. I saw an article where they're changing their reload mechanic in Counter Strike, which to me is crazy because it's been the same for 30 years. Where
Cue people losing their shit.
right, like it
Yeah.
has big implications, especially so no one knows it's going to happen. Where traditionally it's like most video games, when you reload, the bullets in the magazine magically go to your bullet pool and you're good. Whereas more realistic shooters be like, oh, if you shot one bullet and you dump your mag, you lost 29 bullets. And that's what they're doing. They're changing, like, which I get it, because from a competitive standpoint, it does make reloading much more tactical versus like, oh, I fired 2 shots, let's reload. Like, that's kind of the muscle memory if anybody plays like a shooter. Like, oh, 1 shot on my machine gun, I gotta reload it. People have this like reload OCD. But to give you that consequence is interesting. I'm like, okay, I get it, but you're not new. You've been around forever with this old method. So it's interesting to see how this will be
It's interesting
implemented.
also because I would say that they are the reason people have this OCD thing, which is because in Counter-Strike, like, you can have really quick time to kill in Counter-Strike if you're a very good player, but realistically, you need a lot of that because it's kind of hard to aim and you actually have bullet drop and like not all the weapons are accurate at a distance. And in pro play, sure, that's not the case, but in like casual play, that's absolutely the case, which is why people always reloaded quickly, was so that they always had the most bullets for firefights so that
Right.
situations like that didn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'll be curious. I have been watching some Counter Strike because for whatever reason, Northern Lion and like a couple of Screw have been playing it. So like sometimes I'll watch when he posts up on YouTube. But he's on vacation right now, so now when he gets back, uh, we'll see if he plays more Counter Strike, and it'll be really interesting to see how much it fucks with all of them when they're playing. Although I'm sure the other guys are probably playing Counter Strike while he's gone. I don't watch their streams, so we'll see what happens there. But it just seems like a crazy, like, if you had done it when Counter Strike 2 came out, okay, clean slate. But it's like, you're just making this update, man. It's so weird. Because in most games, it'd be like, oh, we've introduced a hardcore mode into this Far Cry or into this Tom Clancy shooter. Like, okay, and in hardcore, you have no HUD. You can't, see how many bullets you got left. But if you reload, you lose, like, yada, yada. Like, that's normal. But to completely change a shooter, a competitive shooter like this is crazy.
Also, like, why? Why now? Why even
I
bother?
Well, they say in the article, like, they wanna make it more it's a more tactical decision, and I'm like, I which I get, like, from that standpoint, but it's like Counter-Strike is still a pretty big esport if you care from that point of view, and it's like, I guess, like, what can we do to shake up the game to make it a little more fresh that, wouldn't require a 2.0 launch or something or a 3rd game? Like, what can we do that would be an interesting enough change with both, I guess, the least and most impact without changing, like, I guess, the ballistic mechanics of weapons and stuff like that? Like, there's not much you can do, like, "Oh, here's a new gun, it has these stats, blah, blah, blah," but it's like, "Okay, if we make this change," outside of, like, closing sight lines on maps, it's like, this is one change that impacts the entire game, not just like, "Oh, people aren't gonna play that level because they don't like it." It's like, "Nope, this is now you have this." So,
But
I'll
I
be
feel
curious.
like the people who still play it don't care about it being renewed and fresh and changed up. It's like they play that because that's what they play and they're used to it. And it's just like, I imagine at this
Yeah,
point, a lot of people, it's like muscle memory type of thing. So
right.
it's like, the people who are playing that didn't ask for that. I don't
Yeah.
think.
We'll see what happens. Like, I'm curious, like, I haven't seen since this articles came out on the 19th. I haven't seen too much, like, do they say when this update's gonna happen? Let's see.
Joke's on
I
you,
don't
we
think
dropped it already.
Yeah.
yeah, I
Surprise.
don't see when this is gonna happen. Make sure I guess it's on the it's in there. The update was also introduces map that's map guides, never mind, blah blah blah. So I guess maybe this update did go live already. Yeah, because I was trying to see if there's a date because I haven't seen too much pushback from enough pushback from the community to see it bleed into article updates and showing up in my YouTube recommends like this change ruins everything kind of thing. Like I haven't seen enough of that yet, so I'll be curious to see if they roll it back. Because Valve's not opposed to changing their mind on stuff. They look at Artifact, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, we'll see. I just thought it was an interesting change to one of the biggest, longest running game franchises. And then the other stuff we've got from this past week was there's like for whatever reason there's like a bunch of Expedition 33 articles that came out. There's one about like them betting on the final Metacritic score, but everybody lost because it was higher than what anybody had predicted. They did say how they won't pick a canon ending for the sequel. It's like I'm like, okay, that's fine. You don't have to if we're not following that family. Like,
Mhm.
don't Star Wars us to make us always be connected to this one family. Like, go anywhere else. It's fine. Uh, then we don't need to know, right? Like that's I feel like that's okay. But if we follow the same people, it's like, well, then you have to kind of pick one because people will be all pissed off if you don't say something. So it's got to be someone else then, which hopefully is the case. But as part of these news articles came out, I did saw one I thought was kind of funny was that there was a writer that had was on the team. I'm trying to see her full name here. They don't. Why don't they list it? Oh, it's because Dice was going on. Uh, it was I guess a bunch of interviews from there, maybe GDC or something, leftover interviews that people had done. But Jennifer Svedbergen was a writer, and basically it was kind of funny, like because they're kind of like, oh my god, I'm blanking on his name, James Cameron, where like they were before they joined the team, they worked in finance, they taught Cuban salsa, and they worked uh for NASA. Like they did a bunch of other stuff and then they just did writing for Claire Obscure Expedition 33, which I thought was really
That's
funny.
crazy.
Yeah. It just reminds me of James Cameron, like he was just like a truck driver, whatever, and then at like 40 or something, he's like, I got this idea for Terminator. Like you
True, I
just do it.
guess.
Yeah, or like well, I was gonna say Alan Rickman, but he was a stage actor though, wasn't he? Before he got into movies.
Yeah, he
So
did
at
he
least it
did acting and other stuff.
yeah, so he was like before he was at least within the same field where this person's like just did a bunch of other stuff and like, all right, now go write for one of the greatest games ever, which I thought was really funny. But there's this whole article on IGN. It's extremely long, this interview. Uh, but yeah, just talking about all the work that she did, uh, get graduate degrees in STEM fields and yada yada, like all this stuff before ever working as a writer for this game. Let's see. I saw a Reddit post from the creative director. I think at the time he was at Ubisoft and he was teaching himself how to use Unreal. He was doing sort of technical tests, so he posted on the subreddit, record this for free, looking for free voice actors. I honestly didn't think he got that many auditions. I always said it. I'm like, I don't know if he did. Blah blah. I'm sorry. I was hoping to go somewhere quicker than that, but like she was like talking about this whole process of how she got involved eventually with them. Looks like post COVID. Is when that happened. But yeah, it's a pretty crazy interview. It's extremely long. So if you want to read it again, it's on IGN. They posted the other day. This is from the 19th. But yeah, I just thought that was the highlights, and that was pretty crazy. And then moving on, we got the announcement of Minecraft Dungeons 2 just randomly revealed this weekend. I was like, okay, I guess Minecraft Dungeons did well enough that you're going to work on a second one. I think it was. I mean, it was always on sale a lot. I never played it. I got it in case my kid, because I think it was part of PS Plus, in case my kid wanted to play it, but I don't think he ever played it.
I mean, it
But
was pretty popular for a hot minute, and I know that that was like a lot of. I know a lot of my friends with like younger kids. They played Minecraft Dungeons first, and then transitioned into Minecraft with mods, which was an
yeah,
interesting like thing to witness for me to see them go like, oh, Minecraft Dungeons, the newer one. I know it's a little simpler and different, but then like, yeah, I mean, it essentially transitioned people directly over to the Minecraft platform, and now all those kids still play Minecraft just with mods and weird shit now.
yeah, yeah. Right. Must have quietly sold a lot. And just make a sequel, or they could just have so much money. They're like, they could just, even if it didn't sell quite as crazy as some other games might need to acquire in order to do a sequel. They're like, well, let's do a sequel anyways. We have enough ideas for what we want to do.
Yeah, just good enough.
Yeah, they have it's like the 90s. They have the benefit of, oh, we don't need to sell a bajillion copies to be able to do another one
Yeah,
because we have
they have
revenue.
the credentials to just be like, it did enough, and it wasn't a total failure, so let's just do another one. I'm sure it'll be fine.
And we have this big revenue stream from
Yeah.
the marketplace on Minecraft. And then the other bits we have here is that Resident Requiem is the best-selling game of the year so far, which is good to see. Ton of copies sold. Say Capcom said sold 6 million units globally. It's also the fastest selling game in the franchise ever. So that's good to see.
We love
Everybody's
that.
loving. They're loving Resident Evil. And then the only other thing was that Crimson Desert's out. And if anybody's playing it, there was a issue where PS5 players were saying like it was kind of blurry. And there's that thing which some other games have had this issue too, where if you have your PlayStation 5 turned on to use the 120 hertz mode, typically if you leave that on and you don't have a monitor that supports it, it's like not an issue because like, okay, the monitor doesn't support it. Therefore,
Mm.
this feature doesn't happen. But in the game, for whatever reason, it kind of overrides that and tries to do it. So it makes it all like fuzzy and blurry. So you have to like manually turn it off in the game subsettings in order for it not to do that, which is I've seen on some other games where for whatever reason it like instead of having the monitor be the choice, like the game does it, which is really annoying. So, but because I know there's a lot of concern on how that was going to look on console because they no one everybody had saw like the PC versions of it. They were concerned like, okay, what's going to look on PlayStation? And at least the blurriness is just a system setting issue. But yeah, other than that, not a whole lot of news. Well, there was a lot of news, just a lot of small things. But yeah, not too much else. I know they had like temporary. I feel like this happens so often now. Like how temporary is it really? But like there's like AI art in Crimson Desert that people have found, and their thing is like, oh, it was supposed to be temporary. It wasn't supposed to launch with that. We're gonna have an internal audit. Blah blah blah. And it's like okay, but that happens so much. Like, is it? Are people really like? Is it just like not obvious anymore? Like, was before AI? Was the temporary art just a fucking I don't know a chessboard? Like just like clearly like art goes here kind of shit. So you know you have to update it. Like, is it just that people no one's noting it in the development cycle now because it just they see it and they don't think it's a temporary piece? Like, code it with like a red X on it or some shit. Like, do something so you know. Hey,
The thing
like,
that is so annoying to me, especially, is like, especially with smaller games, there's tons of like obscure indie games that have like shitty art in them, like, stick figures drawn in paint or whatever. That's like, we were supposed to put art here, but we didn't have time, kind of thing. And it's like, that is infinitely more charming than whatever AI bullshit you put in the game. That obviously is not going to like catch your eye and like a final pass or anything like that. But also, if somebody comes across a placeholder image and it's just like a little stick figure that says art goes here, that's way more fun.
Yeah, right?
Stop
I
taking
I
yourself so seriously. Put a little
yeah,
stick figure in there that says we're trying.
yeah, it's I don't know, man, it's so weird. I feel like it's just happening so much now. Like, 'cause the first time I remember this something like this happening before AI was when Naughty Dog had that one picture of some islands. It was like I think it was like a real picture of an island, so it's like, obviously, if you had it in the game, you'd have to pay, like, the fees to licensing fees, essentially, to put it in there, and it was, in one scene, I think it was in Nathan Drake's house in Uncharted 4, and it was a temporary piece, and then it in the trailer, I believe, it launched like the trailer came out and it's like, "Oh, that's someone's art." And then they came out like, "Oh, hey, what do you have my art in your game trailer for?" And they go, "Whoops." And they put in their proper, art piece that they meant to put in there. Like, my mistake. It's like, okay,
That's
I get it.
annoying
'Cause, like,
too. Don't just take
yeah,
shit off of Pinterest.
right. Yeah. It's like, but at least in that case, it was like it was a real piece of art. But I'm like, I still feel like,
Yeah.
did someone did flag it? Like, but the AI ones are so strange to me. But yeah. And then I there was I didn't read it, unfortunately, but there was an ex-developer that worked on Crimson Desert. One of the criticisms that the game got, um, now it's out, is just that there's no real story. Like, the game's beautiful, it gives you a lot to do, and there's a lot of, like, there's no hand-holding, so there's a lot of fun, like, discovery um, in it, but the story itself is kinda not there, and so, like, there's if you're someone who needs that to, like, kinda push you along, there's nothing. But there was a dev that came out, an ex-dev on it, who was talking about essentially development struggles, I suppose, and, but it was a pretty long post, plus it was translated from, their native language, but, I tried to scrub through to see, like, hey, did you have? Because he pitched his original, like, it talked about the original idea for the story. I won't get into all the details, but, like, oh, it was going to be like this and this, and then this happened. Then there was a bunch of change and pushback and blah blah blah. And so it's like it sounds like they had something more there, but I think, like, just focus wise, they got kind of steered towards a different direction. So it sounds like story kind of took a backseat to everything else, which is unfortunate because I feel like had they had that, a good story, it would be performing a little better Metacritic wise than they are. But I know a lot of people are playing it right now.
Yeah, the reviews for that game have been really interesting and polarizing to read. It feels like that's going to be one of those games where it's very perfect for like some specific people and everyone else is going to hate it.
Yeah,
Which is fine, but I don't know. Everybody thinks that games should all be for them and perfect, and it really doesn't. So it's kind of a bummer to see like this, I don't know, this weird like drama around it. I wasn't even like paying attention, and one of my friends at work was actually like, "Hey, are you gonna get this game?" I was like, "What? Coming out?" And then all of a sudden I see like all of this kind of like I don't subtweeting about it, not even talking about like what the actual issue is, just being like, "Oh, it's a shame about that Crimson Desert stuff." And I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Just leave it alone."
I think it's because there's not one specific, like what I've kind of gathered from the game is some parts of it are really, really cool and other parts of it are kind of awful. And it seems that it's just one of those games where it's like not evenly polished across the board. And if it kind of reminds me of like what I read about Dragon's Dogma, which like that game is one of my favorite games, but it was also one of those games where it's like, or Near is another one where it's like, it's not perfect. There's a lot of really cool systems. There's a lot of things that people are really going to hate, and most of the reviews I've read are so polarizing that it's like, I feel like you just need to play a demo because some people love the systems that other people despise, which has made all of the reviews very confusing. And like
yeah,
difficulty's a big one, hand holding's a big one. It's a lot of things where it's like, yeah, but some people might love that. So it's not like, oh, game runs really poorly, or oh, graphics are horrible, or oh, there's pop in. It's all like game design decisions that some people love and some people hate, and it's going to be really subjective.
yeah. And I feel like because it's new IP too, that's the other thing. It's like, everybody wants new IP. It's like, but you can't have unless you're built by committee. It's like then it wouldn't be that as good if it was new IP that catered to everybody, right? Like, it's like, hey, you gotta if you're gonna be new IP, you kind of gotta take a chance. And it's like, you're not gonna be everybody wants it to be the 10 out of 10 right out the gate, but
And to be clear, it doesn't even sound like it's horrible. Like I've read a lot of
right,
reviews
Yeah.
of
right.
it. it doesn't sound like it's horrible. It honestly sounds like a game that like I might be interested in picking up on sale or something. But
Sure.
it is kind of funny that like the reviews are basically like this system is the worst thing in the world, ruins the game, and then you'll read another review that's like this system is the only saving grace of the game, and that's every review of it so far.
Yeah.
It's become so weirdly polarizing.
That's why like you definitely for the games like if it's in a genre I like I need A look at multiple reviews, but then B like at this point you should have a reviewer or a couple reviewers that you know share your tastes.
Hmm.
And then like if I back in the day if there's going to be a Souls like that comes out, it's like okay, well Dan Tack is the Souls guy at Game Informer back when he was there. It's like okay, I'll listen to his opinion because he loves the Souls games. He'll be, the best authority for me to listen to on a preview for something, and then he likes all the stuff I like, and blah blah blah. It's like that. I find that's always the case now, especially. But the issue is like if those people no longer there, like IGN doesn't have too many people now who I'm familiar enough with their game taste for me to, when I always check like okay who reviewed this if it's a game I'm mildly interested in. It's like, okay, do I know this person? Am I familiar with what they've done previously? Yada yada. It's like they have less and less of that now, which is why the podcast format is just so good because then it's not a review. It's usually they'll have like the reviewer, but then like three people who also were interested in the game and are playing maybe like 10, 20 hours in and can give their thoughts. Like, oh, I like this. Like story isn't even necessarily the biggest thing. I want a story to pull me along. That's interesting. The problem is like because it's also a medieval-ish kind of game, it's like I'm already kind of pulled out of it there. Like I just don't like that setting that much. And maybe I'd be fine if I played it. I'd be like, oh, this is fun. Like just run around finding weird shit and be like, yo, this is crazy. Because sometimes I'll see something like, oh, this is like I'll tune in a couple streams sometime and just see what people are doing. But yeah, it's like maybe not having a great story wouldn't matter to me. Like you said, if you picked it up on sale and it's like, okay, I don't care.
Hmm.
Like the Tomb Raider reboot, I didn't care for the story. I thought it was kind of it was just okay. It was serviceable, but the gameplay was so good that that's what carried the game forward. It was like, oh, the gameplay is great. The story is just decent.
There's
So,
there's also like a lot. It's kind of funny, but even I find myself kind of like polarized on this. There are certain games where if it doesn't have a story that grips me, I'm actually totally fine with that. Like using your example, I think Souls games have interesting world building and almost zero story or
well, yeah,
zero
they
like
have no story
comprehensible story. Yeah.
really.
But it doesn't bother me for them for some reason. And I think
Well,
it's because
yeah,
it's like world building style of game, things like that. There are other games where similarly not having a story or maybe worse, having a bad story bothers me a lot more. And the one I'm thinking of right now is like in particular Borderlands kind of bugs me about that because they did such a fun job with Borderlands 2 that when they haven't had a good story in their games, it kind of bugs me a lot more. And it seems a little like hypocritical that like neither Borderlands nor the Souls series really ever have like perfected stories, but for Borderlands, for some reason, it bugs me way more. And I think it's just like a case by case basis. And I don't know if I could separate like why it bothers me sometimes and not other times.
yeah. Well, I think it's the Souls games because that goes back to my Tomb Raider thing. Like the Souls games are all about the gameplay. Like the fun of those games is the challenge and the difficulty. Stories like whatever. Um, but then when they have something like Bloodborne, which is in a setting I like way more than Dark Souls because it's all medieval, um, it's like I like that one way better. Like then Sekiro has like a much more prevalent story, and that's
But
why Lies of P is so good.
that's why I used Borderlands as an example, though, of like my own hypocrisy, because it's kind of like Borderlands isn't exactly known for stories, and it is definitely known for like gameplay and loot drops. But for some reason, it just bugs me way more with one than the other.
Yeah, but at least Borderlands 2 has, like, a fun villain, and that could be fun because he's always, like, chirping in over the radio while you're running around, but yeah, there could be games where, like, too much story will get my way. I'll be like, "Okay, okay, someone was talking about, like, Neo 3 being, like, super story heavy, like, okay, that could be too much. Now I just don't need to get back in the game. Now you're I when I play a Kojima game, I know I'm gonna have some story, but in your game, I'm like, "I wanna get to this other stuff." But yeah.
Yeah, like
Uh,
I don't know how big of a story I need in a game that's based around like collecting loot drops and fighting like weird possessed demon dragon shit.
right.
Sometimes I just want to fight the demon dragon creature.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how it does. I mean, it was one of those games that was heavily anticipated. See if it sells, how it sells, but and maybe when it's on sale sometime in the future, maybe you'll give it a try and you can talk about it in the podcast. Give your opinion. Maybe we'll have some updates to it, more content or something like that. But yeah, other than that, not too much else. Um, so we can go ahead and move over to what we've been playing now. Since we were out, I'm not sure if any of us necessarily be able to play a ton of extra stuff since we had an additional week. But Isli, what have you been playing these past 2 weeks?
I went through. I've just been playing Resident Evil 9 still, a repeat playthrough just to see how it held up, and I've actually enjoyed it. I have kind of like revised my thoughts on the game a bit. You already sassed me about being like paranoid about this, but I'm still convinced that this game was developed as originally I was thinking it was developed third person first. Now I've revised my statement of I think Resident Evil 9 was originally two separate games. I think that Grace had her version of the game, like of a game, and then they were simultaneously developing a Leon game that was like open world, similar to Evil Within. And at some point along development, they went, wait, neither one of these is fleshed out enough. Let's combine them together. And the only thing, like, my reasoning for that is upon replaying it, which I'm still enjoying a lot, it just becomes so evident how there are no systems that cross over from playing as Grace to playing as Leon. Like, everything is different, including animations and lighting. And it just strikes me as weird because it's like you're spending twice as much time on developing these game systems for the same game. So, like, the example would be upgrades. Leon and Grace both have different mechanics for how they upgrade their equipment and, like the slot machines and things. And it just feels very weird that you would not just have the same system, like have God, I'm blanking on the dude from 4, the merchant. Why am I blanking on what he's called? Not mysterious merchant. Help. What's the merchant
Just
from 4?
He's just the merchant,
She's
isn't
just
he?
the merchant, man.
I thought he had
She's
like a title or anyways. Yeah,
a
so
title.
like the
Mister,
merchant
what
from
are you
4,
buying?
he's consistent throughout the game, and it just becomes more evident on replays that the systems are not consistent from playing from Grace to Leon. And I'm not talking about like style of gameplay, but like the actual systems they built the game around. So like the light mechanic for Grace, where like enemies are scared of lights, just kind of disappears. And it becomes more evident where you're just like, but why? Why wasn't that like a thing with Leon's gameplay? Why didn't they try to incorporate that at all? And it starts like Leon he upgrades his weapons via points. So like after you beat the game, you unlock his like kill points,
Mm-hmm.
which doesn't seem to necessarily make sense with Grace because in order to get kill points for Leon, you have to not kill things as Grace, so there are still enemies left over when you actually get to Leon's portion of the game, which is like it just doesn't feel intentional. It feels like you should still be able to kill enemies as Grace, and it feels accidental that in a repeat playthrough you have to avoid enemies as Grace to even have any enemies to get points for Leon to upgrade his things. And like every system kind of feels like that, where it's like, I think these were two separate games, and I think somewhere along the line they were like, Leon's game isn't panning out. Wait, what if we just combine it with Grace's game, which was originally just going to be like a first-person game set in like the care center or something? That's my time
Yeah,
frame.
I can't agree or disagree with you. I just gotta leave you on your island of conspiracy, unfortunately.
It just feels weird. Like I
I
like them
get you. I
both,
hear
and
you,
I
man.
think
I
they
hear you.
handled the switches decently, but like the more I play it, the more I'm just like this feels like it used to be two separate games, and I really hope they do a deep dive into this. And if they ever do a deep dive and they're like, yeah, we were actually trying to make like an open world Leon game where he just explores all of Raccoon City, but it just wasn't panning out. I'm gonna be like, fuck yeah, I told you so. I
Okay,
just
when that happens.
pointed at my
I feel
admit.
like I feel like
I was gonna be like,
they
no.
they really wanted to make like a straight up like horror experience and then a Resident Evil 4 experience. But they I feel like they gave Grace too many ways to fight back. And so rather than having this back and forth between them where it's like you go back to Grace and you're like, oh fuck, I gotta avoid things. And then yeah, you run into that problem later where it's like, well, if I want to kill these things as Leon, I have to just leave them as Grace, even though I know that she can kill them. Whereas like if she didn't have an ability to kill them, or if it was like really, really difficult even after upgrades and stuff like that, you would still feel inclined to sneak through most of the game or run through most of the game like the traditional survival horror experience where it's like you don't have enough ammo or you don't have enough healing or there's just too many and there's ways to get around it and stuff like that. But had more of a like 7 and 8 feel to it where it's like you get to a point where it's just you know that you can kill things and then that makes it so that you can freely explore rather than having that tension of like having to hide and stuff like that. So it's like if they had taken more stuff away from Grace as far as like combat, I think that would have lent it better to like the subsequent playthroughs, but also the subsequent playthroughs would have been just as annoying as and difficult. So it's like when you do as far as like achievement and trophy gatherers and stuff like that, it just makes it really difficult. So you can't get like the infinite ammo and just blast everything on the way all the way through. But I think it's hard to balance that because it's like you want to have kind of a cohesive experience, but also if you're going to have these two different styles of gameplay, they need to be different enough.
Yeah, and they from everything I hear from the people who do like the speed runs to be like the game quickly or whatever, or do like the no heal or no crafting runs, they just put it like on
Yeah.
easy and they just run past everything. It's like maybe they have the unbreakable knife, but they just like run past everything. It's like, okay, well that kind of makes sense because then on Leon, because even when you play as Leon on the sections, like you don't have to go 100% around the whole place. Like you just go from one spot to another. Like there's so much
Mhm.
you don't need to do. So at least like whatever's left is like, yeah, you can just get those points real quick for his stuff if you want. But it helps for the speedrun purposes to play him in those sections because he's so much stronger and has more utility to do it quickly, even if it's on, easy or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it was a fun balance between, the new style and the old school. I thought it was
Oh
a great
yeah,
way to
and
meld.
don't get
They
me
did a good
wrong.
job balancing it, yeah.
I still actually really like the game. I'm just convinced it started as two separate games. That's really my only takeaway. I'm like,
Two
this
separate
used to be,
ideas, like
yeah, like this used to be two separate ideas, and it's just one of those games that I want to know more about because while I think they did a good job on it, and I think it's a fun Resident Evil game, I just want to know like what drove some of these decisions. And I feel like a lot of games I don't really care about like the story behind development, but this one has me kind of intrigued enough that I'm like, yeah, I want to know more about the team and like why they did these things.
Yeah, I feel like because it's a Japanese developer, you'll never hear that. Like if
I
this
know.
was,
Well, that's why I gotta get my conspiracy theory on because I'm never gonna hear it.
yeah, yeah, if like I said, if the Rose DLC didn't exist, which could have been like proof of concept, then I maybe could see it more. But because they have that,
Mhm.
I feel like and they back updated Village with third person, I think like that those are just test beds for hey, could we make this work in both perspectives? Now we just got to work on game balance, and
Mm.
you don't want to do the classic. Oh, Leon got zapped and lost all his abilities that he got upgraded from the last game. Now he's start at nothing.
He doesn't know how to
Okay.
roundhouse kick anymore, what happened?
Yeah.
Well,
Now
he's
he's got to
old,
go
for
through
one.
his skill tree. Yeah. Right. He needs
He's
ass
in his
cutting.
50s, for one.
He needs
I think that
Bayer.
would be a fair way to do it. Oh, Leon's in his 50s. He hurt his back roundhouse kicking.
You do the
They
first
just,
roundhouse kick in the game to teach you the
yeah,
melee, and he just throws out his back.
he throws out his back, and then the rest of the game he walks slow and moves slow, and he's just like, oh, my knees, my back. I can't run like this anymore.
Oh,
I
the
would play
pretty
that
boy.
game actually. I would play and love that game, and I'd be like, Leon, I get it, man. I get it.
Be out of control. But
Little popping
uh,
noise as you're running.
yeah. So that's all. Just Resident Evil. Just working on your conspiracy theories.
Pretty much just Resident Evil conspiracy theories. And then I started watching Monarch Legacy of Monsters, which not
Right.
game related, but actually really enjoying and highly recommend checking it out.
Yeah.
First season's on Amazon.
That's what you were saying. What about you, Zai? What have you been playing?
Well,
You said you
last
played
week I
something
was
new.
yeah, I got Monster Hunter Stories 3 came out technically last Friday. I have a bone to pick with this fucking thing. Why is it getting not the game itself, the game is fantastic. Why is it getting so fucking difficult to buy physical copies of games now? Because like previous years, I've just been able to go on in the morning and anywhere, Best Buy, GameStop, anywhere. I could just go on, buy the game, and then pick it up later in the day. This has happened twice now with like Claire Obscure and Monster Hunter, where it's like
I'm gonna say
the game
Claire
isn't
Obscure.
available. Yeah. The game isn't available. You can't buy it anywhere. It's not available anywhere like in store. You can't go find it, you can't go pick it up, you can't pre-order it, anything. It's just not available. And then like 4 hours later, one place will have it, and then you buy it, and it's like, okay, your game will be ready in 3 days. What? Hello? So it's like, I went on Friday morning, game isn't available anywhere. And I was like, well, fuck. Because you can't even go on Amazon because Amazon is like, yeah, you can buy the game and we'll ship it to you in about a week and a half. What? So I went on later in the day, still not available at Best Buy, still not available at Target, still not available like anywhere. Finally found it at GameStop at like 5 o'clock in the evening and was like, okay, I can buy it. I can do store pickup. This is fine. Like maybe they got another shipment in or something. It was late, whatever. Bought the game, waited. It didn't become available for pickup until like 4 o'clock on Saturday. And I'm just like, why? Why is this becoming, if this is going to be a thing, I'm going to complain about it every time because I'm not going to change what I'm doing.
Claire
Because I still
Obscure
don't.
was, I know it was like a weird example of it, but man, it took me like months to get a physical copy of that game.
Yeah, I think I got supremely lucky with it because I went on, it wasn't available on Best Buy, and I managed to find it on GameStop, but it did the same thing where it's like, hey, cool, we'll email you when your game is ready, and they didn't email me until the next day. I was like, oh, that's really strange. I wonder what's going on with that. And then we tried to buy a copy for Michael's brother, and it took us like a month and a half to find a copy on Amazon, which is like, that's, I felt like that was a little bit of a one-off thing because like the game came out and it got such good reviews and people were talking about it so much that it's like they didn't maybe prepare enough shipment for it. So I was like, okay, this is kind of cool actually because it's like this game is doing really good. But Monster Hunter Stories 3, is that really like, we're not Claire Obscure like levels of like the game is good, but it's not, we're not on the same thing. So it's like maybe it's the same thing, maybe it's doing a lot better than it was meant to, but or it may be that, you know, it's only on Switch 2, nobody has a Switch 2, so everybody's buying it for PlayStation. I don't know. I bought it for PlayStation because I don't have a Switch 2. I don't know what the deal is, but I was just like super freaking frustrating. But it ended up kind of working out because that whole previous week I was replaying Heaven's Word. And so like my cat just
Just restock your
destroyed
shelves.
things. She's digging in okay, anyway. Um I was replaying Heaven's Word that whole week prior. So it's like I finished it. I went and picked up the game and then I finished Heaven's Word on Saturday. So I ended up just playing it on Sunday anyway. But yeah, Heaven's Word, very fucking good. Still fucking good. I wish that the production quality that they have for the expansions now, I would really love to see them like go back and update and stuff like that, but I know they won't, but it's still so fucking good. That expansion's just so fucking good. But yeah, Monster Hunter Stories 3 is like I've played the previous two games and I like them, but it was always kind of just like I like it for the gameplay kind of aspect to it, and the story was just like, you know, something's fucking up the ecosystem. We gotta go stop it, whatever. The story in this game is like really fucking good, and it's not just that. There is like a monster that's kind of like fucking up the whole world, kind of thing. It's not just like affecting the monsters; it's affecting all the people and stuff too. But it's turning out that it's because of this like war that went on and this like weird thing that people did, and it's like it's kind of shifted to like, oh, it's the people that fucked up the monsters in the environment. And I kind of like that twist on it where it's like, it's the people's fault because it always is. Like realistically, it's the people's fault. So that's kind of nice. But it's just like, I don't know. It's just, I wasn't expecting like an engaging, like right out of the gate, like heart wrenching kind of story. And it did that. And I was like, oh, this is like really fucking good. I'm not like getting through the main story to get to the side stuff and the new monsters and stuff like that. I'm getting through the story because I want to know what happens.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I stayed up till 2 o'clock last night playing it because it just like the story just kept going. And I was like, well, I want to see what happens next. And then they do this like tease where it's like, hey, this person that you thought was dead is actually not dead. And I was like, well, I knew he wasn't dead, but you know, I was holding out hope, but it's fine. And then it just gets like more and more and more like weird and in depth. And it's just like, okay, I want to keep playing it now. I need to get to the next part of it. Fuck the monsters. I want to get to the rest of the story.
Nice.
I've
So
said
it's
no
really
one
good.
about a Monster Hunter story or game ever. Fuck the monsters. I just want the
I
story.
know.
Yeah.
It's just like, because usually you want to like every monster, every region has like a set of monsters, and you want to go get the eggs, and then it has this one has a really cool feature called oh shit, I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically like rehabilitation, where it's like get the eggs for the monsters, and then you release them back out on the wild so that it will produce stronger monsters. So it's like you want to collect enough of them to raise the rank of the monster, and then you can go out and find better eggs. They have like better skills, better traits, stuff like that. So it's like there's that kind of to it, and that's what I was kind of doing in the first area is like just putting down camp in all the different areas, doing the rehabilitation kind of thing, the rehabilitation thing. And then the story was just like, "Hey, how about we punch you in the stomach instead?" And I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess we'll just continue on and do all of this later because I want to know what's happening."
That's funny.
It's good. It's so good. It's so pretty too. I'm glad I got it for PlayStation because it's very, very pretty.
That's good. Yeah, I didn't play too much the week prior. Just a lot of Warhammer, watching TV shows and stuff, movies and what have you. But I did this week because we got back from our family vacation and I took the full week off. I was like, okay, I was like, what am I gonna play? I thought maybe I'll stream something. So we all just spend like 3 days just doing nothing but miniature painting. Didn't quite do all that, but I did play some games. One game I played last night, which was really short, like type of going through the PlayStation Plus extra to see what they had available was the Exit 8, which is a very small, quick little game,
Mm.
very PT like, where you're going through and it's like okay, you're just in a continuous loop and you're trying to get through it, get out, and you have to like go through like 8 times, but you're looking for, and it tells you like there's like a sign that says in order to get through, you have to look for anomalies. So like it'll be uh you go through, there's some posters, there's doors, there's vents, there's like dude that walks up the hallway, and you're looking for discrepancies in between each. And as you round the corner at the end of the hallway, you could see like, okay, you turn left and you turn right. And if the sign says if it counts up like, oh, exit 1, exit 2, exit 3, it's like you completed it. If it goes to 0, it's like there was something wrong. You're like, God damn it, what was it? So then luckily you can go back up the hallway and you can see like, okay, well, what was the anomaly? Like what was different? And luckily it didn't get as super crazy with the variances. I thought maybe it could. Like I was looking at shit like, not to spoil if Izzy ends up playing it, but like I thought like, oh, is there like there's like one poster where it's like it says new opening and it has like dates or whatever, and there's one that has a calendar of their like the days that they're open. Like, do the days it's open get different? Like I'm trying to deduce like what variances there can be, but luckily they're not quite that minute. So I'm like, okay, that's not the problem. Like going back, I'll look like where the hell was what was it? What was it? And sometimes they're super obvious. It's like, okay, because I was wondering, like I saw someone popped up in my feed a couple weeks ago, like was a speed runner, and they were loading into the game, but they were speed running it and to beat it in like I think they did like in a minute something. But in order to do that, they had to have like the most obvious variances pop up. And so like
Mhm.
it wasn't necessarily that they were good, it was that they got a great seed essentially. It's like, "Oh, I just run through, oh, I could see this discrepancy. I could see this." So it's like, I'm like, "Okay, well, you're not just that's just luck then."
Yeah.
Like, because there's some like you won't know that it's wrong unless you go close to something like a thing.
Mhm.
And it's like, so I thought I was like, okay, well, this isn't nearly as, impressive as I thought it was when I first watched it once now that I played the game. But it was fun, like going through and trying to figure out, okay, what could show up. And so again, some things are super obvious. Other ones I'm like, I'm going through, I'm like, I'm looking, like, too much on the one side, and I was wrong, like, "What the hell was it?" I go back, I'm like, "Ah, this, I shoulda looked, I coulda easily spotted that."
Mhm.
And there were so many times where I'd be on exit, like, 7, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm almost to 8," and then, like, somehow I missed something, and I'm like, "God damn it," and then I got back at 0. But then I ended up beating it, and then I went through it a couple more times to get, like there's only, like, 4 trophies, it's like, beat it, and then I think it's fine 25% in the anomalies, 50% and 100%. And I just went through it a couple times to make sure I got all the anomalies. And it'll make sure to like the more unique anomalies it'll kind of give you as you continue to fail. It'd be like, okay, let's, kind of like throw you a little bone. Like, here's something like clearly it's crazy. There are some that are really like spooky. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. What's going on here with this
I
anomaly?
didn't know this was a
Uh,
horror game. I know I watched, Gab Smulders play it, and it got, like, spooky on her game really quickly, and I was like, "Oh, this is actually a horror game, and I don't know if I'm interested," but,
Yeah,
it's,
it's
like,
a horror
really
game,
good.
but there's no like like jump scare, but like really it's kind of like, well, it's kind of unsettling, especially if you're playing like solo,
Yeah.
and because it's in Unreal, I believe, so it's like the environment looks really good and everything.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was a fun, like, again, short little game. It was just part of PS Plus. I played that, but I went back and I finished the Altars. I was like, you know what, I'll go back and play some of this. I need something to play. I was like, let's go back to the Altars, and
God,
I was
I
go.
forgot about that game. I never finished it either.
Yeah, I was in a few runs in a few days into Act 2. It's like, okay, let's go back and let's play it. I'm like, okay, I got to remember uh, I got to kind of like relearn stuff. Like, obviously, it's base management. I got to assign people, blah blah blah, this and that. But I reduced the difficulty down a bit just so I can kind of like reacclimate myself to what I'm doing. And because I'm like, I was trying to be like, okay, well, what do all I need to get through? What do these things do? These anomalies in the world, blah blah blah. So I went through and I beat it. I got one of the endings, and then I went back and I watched like a different version of one of the endings. But uh, yeah, the Act 3 was actually surprisingly kind of short. I was like, damn, Act 3 actually went pretty quick. I got a little concerned because there's like one objective you have to do like right at the start of Act 3, and it's like I was like, oh, if I do this though, is this gonna like it's like something you need to do to get like the whole point of the thing is like you're trying to you're trying to escape the sun because it's gonna like it's so hot on the planet you're on, like the sun will just destroy you and your ship will get destroyed. Your little wheel ship you're in. But you're also trying to like set up contact with Earth and get a rescue. So in Act 3, it's like, oh, you got a rescue ship coming in. You're gonna have to put down a beacon so they can see where you are. And I'm like, uh-oh, if I put down the beacon, is it just gonna like trigger like, okay, now you've got 3 days until the ship gets there, finish whatever you need to do. I'm like, I got other stuff I still need to do. But luckily it's like, because it was such an easy objective to do, like to craft the beacon was super cheap. And then to put it down, it's like right, not that far from the base. And it's like, oh, something goes wrong and now you have to solve for that. And like that's the main bit of the game of that chapter. I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. But yeah, really good. It definitely like if anybody's familiar with Frostpunk 1, a lot of similar kind of mechanical story beats that happen. That kind of one of them kind of caught me off guard. I was like, okay, I can see what's going on here. Like there's a decision you have to make. And I'm like, I get it. I didn't expect quite as much of the outcome. And then there were some interesting, like, there's a lot of, a lot of story stuff where I'm like, okay, who do I trust?
I think you can spoil it because I don't know if I'm going to ever find time to go back to that, or at least soon enough that I'm going to remember what you said.
It was just like
There's no way.
there comes a bit where like you find out like you when you first get there, the whole premise of the story is you crashed on this planet. Your mission was, I think it's called like the Dolly mission. You're looking for a resource called Rapidium, which is like this corporation. They think Ally Corp. They think Rapidium will be like, if I recall, I think it's kind of like imagine like Timefall from Death Stranding and how they have that Timefall farmer and like speeds up crop growth. Like there's a huge resource crisis on Earth, and their assumption is they think Rapidium, which they've tried to research, will help them deal with this resource issue. So like it'll help increase the amount of resources that are available. Blah blah blah. That's kind of like the reason for the mission. And you crash like you're the only one there, so you you find Rapidium, you get in contact with Ally Corp. They tell you like, oh well, you need help. You try to clone a sheep uh, with Rapidium to see if you could do it. It works. The sheep, and they like make you clone. Say you got to clone yourself. Use the quantum computer to clone a version of you to help you with your mission, and that's the whole thing. But it's like against the law, obviously. Very, very Mickey 17. And it's so you the way the quantum computer works is it looks at your life. It knows like everything about Jan Dolsky, the main character, and like it calculates, okay, well, if you made this major decision differently, it creates this version of you. It's like one version's a scientist, one's a doctor, one's a technician, a miner, blah blah blah. And like you choose one, and then there's a whole story that plays out with them, blah blah. So you do this, and you have to do it to survive. And anyways, you find later the sheep dies. You're like, oh, what the hell happened? So you do an autopsy on the sheep, and you find out, oh, because of the Rapidium and it kind of rapidly growing this clone of yourself, or clones of whatever, like it makes the brain like essentially kind of continue to grow these like extra tumors. which is essentially what cancer is, right? It continuous growth of the cells. And then so you gotta solve it. And like one of the major beats is like, okay, well, how do we solve it? And like one of the solutions is to create a blank copy of yourself that doesn't have any memories, and you just harvest the brain material and create a cure that way, or you like put these implants in your brain. That is like from this doctor you contact back on Earth, your ex-wife essentially. And there's like obviously some guys don't want it because then that means the company's going to find out about your alters, because you did it in secret with some other guy who's working with this main dude who's voiced by Doug Cockle, who does The Witcher, Geralt. And he's like, okay, you take his method to do it, and you're gonna have to make a empty version of yourself, harvest it, and there's a bunch of people that are against that. And then if you make the devices, you have other people that are against that because they don't want the company to monitor you and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, that's kind of a decision you make. Like, whatever happens, some folks aren't going to be happy, and whoever's not happy, like they leave. Like when you go to leave Act Two, they leave it. It's a lot like the Londoners in Frostpunk, where people are going to leave the city, and you can't stop them leaving, but you can try to reduce the amount of people that leave. So it's like, okay, I thought more people were going to stay than left. Like one person, no matter what, they are going to leave because they get kind of like decisions that happen leading up to that. They like story beat wise, they're going to leave regardless. I found out. So like but depending on the decision you make, determines whether or not they rejoin you later in the game in Act Three. But anyway, so I was like, damn, more people left than I thought, and I had a chance to like make another alter myself, but I'm like, why would I make another alter of myself in Act Three? Like, I don't need to do that. I'm fine. I'll just you end up finding you can find your team and help them come back to help you out and stuff like. But it was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. It's hard like figuring out who to trust back on Earth. And I went back and I looked at read like, okay, what's all the alternate endings that can happen? No pun intended. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. You can do this, you can do this, blah blah blah. But yeah, it's really fun. It's funny. Like at one point, I kept kind of the same base design through the entire thing, but then like in the end of Act Two, I needed to put out some more stuff, but I couldn't with where my default elevator was, so I shifted it around. So I changed like all my base around, and then like in Act Three, it kept throwing me off. Like, fuck, where's my bed? Where's the exit to get out of the ship? Where do I go? Where is it? Where's that guy? And I thought it was throwing me all off. But yeah, really fun, really enjoyed it. I don't know how much I'll replay it. Unlike, Frostpunk. Well, Frostpunk and Frostpunk 2 have like stories. They're not like, cutscene wise. And this is like a lot of cutscene and
I know.
individual person management.
I was gonna say, like, I know Alters is kind of in a similar vein as Frostpunk, but does it really have replayability, or is it more of
Mhm.
like replaying a Heavy Rain type game where you're really just replaying it for like make a different decision at XY point, but not for gameplay?
You can make different decisions. Plus, I think there's like 3 alters I could still make that I didn't. Like there's a more militarized one. There's the psychiatrist one, and there's another one I think I can make that I didn't make. I made like all these other ones. So there's like other maybe story events with those characters that can happen. Like the one with I think it's either the technician or the miner, where like it might be the miner, I think, where one of them has like in their quote unquote quantum memory, they lost their arm in an accident. I think it was the miner lost it in like a mining accident. And so he has this memory of this. So he keeps having this phantom pain in his arm, even though his arm is there. So he starts like doing a bunch of drugs to get rid of this pain. And and he keeps like making mistakes and injuring himself, cause a problem. You tell him like, yo, you gotta lay off the drugs, you gotta lay off the drugs. And eventually he can't stand it. Like his arm hurts him, even though he's totally fine. It's just like this mental disparity between what his quote unquote memories are and how he's currently. So he he cuts off his arm, like, just while he's on drugs, and then you make him a mechanical arm, and then he feels better, obviously, because now his body reflects what his memories are. And I had some guesses on the story of where it was gonna go from the start, and I was correct, with one of the major aspects of, the bit, and they confirm it in the game. There's, like, a cutscene, like, "Okay, you're I assumed this was the case of, why this character survived and blah, blah, blah." It's like, "Okay, I assumed this was what was going on." I mean, it's kinda obvious. if you're familiar with any sort of sci-fi. But it was a lot of fun. Just managing the individual folks, very auction not included style versus like, just a big city in Frostpunk. Um, and then talking to each individual and everybody being unique and different and trying to, have those conversations get like there were certain things like there's one ending I couldn't get because I of decisions I made. And I do like when you replay it, it highlights the decision you made previously in a dialogue choice. And so you can choose like which one you did previously, so you could do a different one if you want to try something else. So I would be curious to like try certain things differently. Or there was a event at the end of Act One where we all got together and like a lot of us used to be in a band in our branching lives, whatever. So like we recreated that band at the end of Act One and we like made up a song. But like some of us were in that band or they like the scientist like didn't like that early part of his life and he's like very against it, but he still like participated in the thing. And like, but not everybody when I listened to like MinMax when they talked about it, like they didn't have that. They had some other event happen. I'm like, okay, was it bad? Like I'm curious like how much could go wrong as well. 'Cause I think, like, even if, like, you fail, like, I think they get rid of you. Like, you kinda like in Frostpunk, like, if the overseer messes up, they just kill you. They sacrifice you at the core. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I could definitely see replaying it at some point in the future, maybe at harder difficulties. I'd be curious. There are some mechanics about the game that I wish I knew in Act One, because I would have like there's the mechanic of the sun approaching, and you have to complete the objective before the sun arrives. But the way that they measure it, like you're not fully aware with that how it's done until later. I'm like, okay, it's like they give you kind of the sun is far away every time you wake up every day. And then eventually it's like the sun is rapidly approaching. And then eventually it'll have like a little counter in the bottom right where it gives you the exact amount of days until the sun hits. But I didn't realize that. I thought like once it said the sun is rapidly approaching, I'm like, okay, I got to get the hell out of here. So I would leave. But as the sun approaches in those days leading up, like there are these weird events that happen on the surface. And there are these resources you can collect that allow you to research certain tier of upgrades that you need this specific resource from the planet's surface. And there's definitely some things I would like try, like, oh, maybe I'll try, go this route and make some automated farms or upgrade to the automated mining equipment much quicker or something like that. Or do this, do like make these other more optimization of the tech tree. If I was to play on a harder difficulty, like, and if I play harder, how much more difficult is it to satisfy the people? Like there are all these activities you can do to make people happier. Because as you have this conversation, like it pops up how they're feeling. But you can play like beer pong with people, and that'll make them happy. You can watch movies together, but can only watch a movie once as a group to make them happy. But you can find new movies in the environment. You can make things on the ship, like you find like this hologram for like a forest, and you make like this relaxation room where you build like a park bench, and the hologram equipment like generates a park around the area, so that can help people relax. And obviously, I think I'm assuming having the psychiatrist is like a major help to keep people happy. There's one alter who like he had a great relationship with your wife, not like your wife, but like his wife in his quote unquote
He had a great
memories.
relationship with your wife.
Well, like, cause in the main characters in Young Dulski's timeline, he broke up with his wife. Like they broke up. But this version of him who is the botanist, they stayed together. So they like there's this conflict in like he's like wondering like how did you fail? But there's a bit where you can call Lena on the comms and you can let him pretend to be you. In the because he really misses his wife, obviously, who technically never existed because his memories are fake from like that's the whole debate there, like this again, this are they real people? The company thinks that they're not, because they're just clones of you with fake memories from the quantum computer, but it's like but they feel real to them, so it's like, it does that whole thing as well, the soma thing, but so you let him talk to the wife and blah blah blah, and they all do have very different personalities, and it's funny because like they're all the same character model, but they have like different facial hair or hairstyles, and they also talk slightly different. So it's really funny, and I don't know if it's the same actor doing different voices or if it's different people voicing the same character. or like different versions of the character. But it's a really fun game. I'm glad I finished it and went back to it. Yeah, I would be curious to go back and try some of the other like there's some you have to get from the game. Like I think you need the scientist and the technician. Like the technician, I think is the first one you make because you have to fix the ship. So they make you do the technician. Uh, but then the scientist, obviously, you need for research and whatnot. But other ones like the doctor and again the botanist and the miner are all like you choose whether or not you want to be those guys. But yeah, it's a fun game. I'd be curious to see if they'll do DLC for it. I'm trying to look to see if there's any announcements on the store page. Yeah, they won the Dice Award for Strategy Sim, which is fun. But yeah, I did a bunch of the endings. So I'd be curious to see. There's one I didn't get, but I have to make a much earlier decision. But yeah, it's a fun game. I thought it was really good. And yeah, that's what I'm playing. Like I said, I did also start actually Phoenix Immortals Rising because I had that from way back. I was like, let's try this. So I play like the epilogue, and that's fun because that game kind of gives you like all your like abilities like in the epilogue. You just mainline the MSQ. And it's like, oh, now you get your heavy weapon attack. Now you get your double jump. Now you get when you finish the tutorial, it's like, or the epilogue, it's like now you get the glide ability, and it's like now you can go to the mainland, and that's I was just running like messing around with that, just seeing like okay, because it was a Ubisoft game that they made that was originally going to start as some Odyssey offshoot or something. They tweaked it. I think it was called like what something Immortals, Gods and Monsters, or something just Gods and Monsters, and they changed it to Immortals Phoenix Rising. But yeah, that's
I forgot about that. That they
yeah.
like shifted the title.
Yeah, it was one of those rare games that actually had a title change. And it's funny because like the way the story presents, it kind of reminds me of Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, the first one, where it's a story between Zeus, like something's going on, like all the gods are missing, Typhon is causing havoc, and Zeus is talking to Prometheus. Prometheus is voiced by Elias. Oh, I can't remember his goddamn name, but Adam Jensen from Deus Ex. Trifescus. I forget how to say his damn name. Has an X in there somewhere. But it's like them talking to each other and like so they do this thing where like Prometheus will be telling the story of Phoenix, and something will happen and Zeus will be like, this is boring. And then a giant monster shows up and like now there's a monster. And it goes like, and then Phoenix acts all, strong, whatever. And Phoenix starts talking in the way that she or he, depending on who you play, how they never talk. And then Prometheus is like, nah, that's not what happened. And all of a sudden now the monster's gone. And so like there's some fun little like world changing bits that'll happen as you're playing because you hear their VO over what you're doing. And then they'll have these like little commentary bits as you're playing. So it's kind of fun. I'm just kind of playing it casually. I'm playing on hard mode, so it's not too hard, but I'm just like playing a little just to see what it's like. Just seeing like, hey, is this going to kind of scratch that open world itch? But now that I'm in the proper open world, I got to give it some more time. I just kind of sped run through the. They have like
I need a good open world game.
Yeah, after being in Tahoe, I was like, I almost was going to go back and just replay Far Cry 5 again. Because I just love going back to Far Cry 5 because I like that world. But yeah, so I'm playing that a little bit as well. But other than that, though, I gotta hopefully go back, maybe finish something else that I've got that I need to go back to now that I've finished the altars. But yeah, I saw a fellow streamer acquaintance was playing Sons of the Forest. I was like, oh man, I wish I had them on Steam. I'd love to just like jump in their game, like run up on them, like making scary noises and stuff. Like, I thought that'd be really funny. But yeah. All right. Well, I guess that'll do it for this episode. A lot of small news, and at least we've all been playing some stuff. We'll see what happens next week. If we got any, maybe I'll play something new, and I'll go back to an old game revisit, and I could talk about it. But
Maybe you'll play Karen.
maybe I'll play Karen. Well, I got to go through my
Maybe.
list of games I've got first. There's a lot of sales going on right now too. Although it's crazy when a game's like 40% off and it's still $42. It's like, damn, man. The price of games being $69.99 really fucking up the discounts.
I paid $70 for Monster Hunter.
Seeing a game on sale for like 20% off, and then after taxes and stuff, it comes out to like $65, has really thrown my brain for a loop where I'm like, wait, is this on sale? I thought this was on sale for 20% off. And then I'll like check and I'll be like, yep, math and taxes, it is still this price. Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, Indiana Jones is on sale 20% off. Like that shit's still $56. Like it's like, and then it's like I'm not gonna Not right now. I don't think so.
Bruh.
But, yeah. Anyways. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and do it for this episode. So thank you for all tuning in. Thank you, Isli. Thank you, Zai, for joining.
Mhm.
And we'll see you all next time.
Later.
Bye.